Well, I'll take off mine if you take off yours.
Oh.
Ho, ho, ho. My sleigh bells are ringing.
I'm back in school, and I'm big. I can finally make the basketball team.
Not with your grade point average. A message from Miss Diana. She's canceled her nuptials and is presently en route. What? Blew off the wedding and she's on her way. What's so hard?
After the UIL got its mysterious phone call.
I thought it was a letter.
Look, in the beginning it was a letter, then it was a phone call, whatever it was. You know, I need a white woman because I've just about had it with you black guys.
So that's the story of 7½. Since the rents are considerably lower, this floor's been adopted by businesses which for one reason or another have been forced to cut corners. After all, the overhead is low.
You. What was the last suggestion you made to your boss?
God, as far as my health is concerned, I have congestive heart failure. But I've had that for 7 years, you know. I'm on medicine, I see a doctor regularly, and I don't have any symptoms.
Ever wonder what happens when Hollywood decides you're disposable, even after you gave them everything?
Do you gamble?
No.
Drink hard liquor?
No.
Have the mark of the beast tattooed on your left breast?
No.
Lynn does.
William!
She's the Antichrist and she wants to make you a succubus. Run,
Reginald C. Hayes won 3 NAACP Image Awards playing William Dent on Girlfriends, a character so beloved that 2 decades later people still quote his lines. But when the cameras stopped rolling, Reggie's life didn't just slow down, it collapsed.
But like when that show ended, it kind of safety net happened, and it's like you're on your own again. It was like growing up, where, you know, your folks are dead, you got to kind of scramble to make a living again. It was real rough on me.
We're talking about a man who went from red carpets to sleeping in his sister's garage for 6 years. A man whose heart literally started failing while Hollywood pretended he never existed.
I got real depressed for years, and I went up to like 300 pounds. I just lost 60 pounds.
And here's what nobody talks about. The system knew exactly what it was doing. Stick around, because the real reason Reggie Hayes disappeared will make you question everything you think you know about fame. And trust me, what he revealed about girlfriends getting canceled?
There was a strike going on, you know, a writer's strike. So they shut down the whole town.
That'll hit different. Chicago's South Side in 1969 wasn't the kind of place where dreams felt possible.
Yeah, I was born and raised in and around Chicago back in '69. I'm getting up there now.
It was the kind of place where survival meant learning to duck when you heard certain sounds, where kids grew up fast or didn't grow up at all. Reginald C. Hayes was born there on July 15, 1969, the youngest of 4 children in a household that would soon be shattered by loss. When Reggie was just 4 years old, his mother died of cancer. He barely understood what death meant, just knew that the woman who'd held him was suddenly gone, leaving a void that would shape everything that came after. His father tried holding the family together, working hard, doing his best. But 10 years later, when Reggie was 14, his father died too.
They died when I was very young. My mother died when I was 4, and then my father died when I was 14, and that's when I ended up in military school.
Orphaned as a teenager, no parents to guide him through high school, no safety net to catch him when he stumbled, no family structure to tell him he mattered. They sent him to St. John's Northwestern Military Academy in Wisconsin, a boarding school known for structure and discipline. Some boys got sent there because their parents wanted them to excel. Others, the borderline cases, the ones teetering on the edge, got sent there because somebody hoped they could be saved before it was too late.
I ended up in a military school in Wisconsin right across the border, but there were kids in gangs that got put there, you know, like borderline cases, kids that they wanted to save sometimes.
Military school was brutal, but Reggie found something there that would eventually save his life: performance. He learned how to make people laugh, how to use humor as armor against everything that hurt. Eddie Murphy became his idol, not just because Murphy was funny, but because he brought joy.
But my heart, you know, the joy of acting really came like Eddie Murphy, I think. It's just like so much joy come from watching him.
Reggie would watch Saturday Night Live and see Murphy transform pain into power, command a stage with confidence that seemed impossible for a black man navigating America's cruelty.
I just knew that I wanted to be a part of it, the clowning and just doing all the Eddie Murphy stick from Saturday Night Live back in the day.
After military school, Reggie attended Illinois State University, earning his BA in theater. He dove deep into Shakespeare, spent years with the Illinois Shakespeare Festival, learning classical technique and understanding how to inhabit characters completely.
Sure, I did Shakespeare for many years and all kinds. I go out for serious parts all the time.
But Shakespeare wasn't paying bills in Chicago. He got a job at a bank, wiring money for customers, wearing a shirt and tie, taking the train downtown like any other working person trying to make it.
And stuff like that. And I landed a good job at a bank. Back before the internet, you would have to call the bank and then they would wire money for you. And that's the department I was in, just wiring money.
At night, though, he did theater.
So I was working in a bank at the time and doing theater and improv at night.
Community productions, improv shows, any stage that would have him. He was good enough that a play called Hellcab cast him in multiple roles. Quick Change worked, where he'd transform into different Chicago cab drivers night after night. The play ran for 2 years in Chicago, became a local phenomenon. When the producers decided to take it to Los Angeles in 1995, they asked Reggie to come with them. His boss at the bank promised she'd rehire him when he came back. Everyone assumed he'd come back. Los Angeles chewed up Chicago actors and spit them out broke and defeated all the time. But Reggie got on that plane anyway. November 1995, leaving Chicago winter for California sunshine, carrying everything he owned and a promise from a woman he'd probably never see again.
I got my boss to promise that she would rehire me when I came back. I was supposed to come back. But, we come out here in November and everybody's got shorts on, having Thanksgiving picnics.
Los Angeles hit different when you had no money and no connections. Reggie stayed with the Hellcab cast, performing the play at night while agents came to watch.
It was scary. I was doing a play at night, and just getting a little money that way. And the agents and things came to see the shows.
They liked what they saw. A black actor who could do comedy and drama, who understood timing, who looked like a leading man, but could disappear into any role. 4 months after arriving in Los Angeles, Reggie booked his first television pilot, Nick Freno, licensed teacher on the WB.
Got a lot of interest in agents that way, and then they started sending me out right away, and then I got my first TV show 4 months later, so.
He thought he'd made it. First audition in Hollywood, first booking, everything falling into place like the universe was confirming he'd made the right choice. They fired him after the pilot, replaced him with another actor. No explanation, no apology. Just thanks for coming in, we're going a different direction. The punch to the gut of realizing talent didn't matter as much as he thought it did. The next year, he booked another show, Getting Personal with Vivica A. Fox.
Oh, it was quite real to me. When I went to fetch some twine from the supply closet, you two were playing stock boy in The Environmental Lobbyist.
13 episodes, enough money to get his own apartment, enough work to feel like maybe he could actually survive in this industry.
I was going broke. I was on a show before there, a couple of years before, a year before, with Vivica Fox and on Fox. And that lasted for 17 episodes or whatever, but it was a good little chunk of money. I never had that kind of money, for a year.
Then that show got canceled too. Back to auditioning, back to wondering if he'd ever get a role that lasted. In 1999, broke and desperate, owing rent he didn't have, Reggie got a call for an audition.
I didn't have money for the next month's rent. They call, you go in, and it's a few auditions. First you read for the writers.
A new show on UPN called Girlfriends. The role was William Dent, a corporate attorney who was best friends with 4 black women navigating life and love in Los Angeles.
Tell us about what your character is.
I play William Dent. He's a lawyer. He works in the office with the lead girl, Joan, played by the lovely, talented Tracy Ross. And we kind of have an adversarial relationship.
He auditioned 4 times. The first audition went great. The second one, he fumbled. The third, he nailed completely. The 4th audition, the final callback, he bombed so badly he walked to his car cursing himself, kicking trash cans in parking lots, walking the streets at night like a man who just watched his last chance evaporate.
And the first one I did good, second one I didn't do too good, third one I did real good, last one I did real bad. And then, you're cursing in the car all the way home.
He didn't sleep that night. He knew he'd blown it. The next morning, his agent called. He got the part. The relief wasn't just about getting work. It was vindication. An agent in Chicago had told him years before that he wasn't good enough for Los Angeles, wasn't good looking enough, wasn't talented enough. Now he had a series regular role on a network television show.
Just to find a role, the vindication of people telling you you ain't shit. I had an agent in Chicago who told me I wasn't good enough to come come here.
Girlfriends premiered on September 11, 2000, and immediately connected with Black audiences in ways UPN hadn't anticipated. The show wasn't trying to be Sex and the City, though people made that comparison constantly. It was its own thing. 4 Black women dealing with careers, relationships, and friendships with honesty television rarely allowed. William Dent became the friend every woman wanted, the corporate attorney who genuinely loved women's company without ulterior motives, the straight man who got the jokes, who provided the male perspective without mansplaining, who was sexy and nerdy at the same time. Reggie played William as himself, just being honest and real instead of trying to manufacture a performance, and audiences loved it. The show exploded. 8 seasons, 172 episodes. Tracee Ellis Ross became a star. Golden Brooks, Persia White, and Jill Marie Jones all became household names in Black households across America. The show was appointment television, the kind people organized their Mondays around. But something strange happened during those 8 years. While the women got magazine covers and endorsement deals and red carpet attention, William stayed in the background. Reggie would show up to awards shows and premieres, standing at the end of the line while photographers shouted for Tracee to move closer, for Golden to turn around, for Persia to smile bigger. He'd stand there in his suit, smiling, being professional, wondering why he was even there. There were conversations, winks, suggestions that William might get his own spin-off show. It felt like a bird about to take flight. All that potential energy building, executives circling the idea, writers developing concepts, then nothing happened. The bird never took off. The spin-off never materialized. The push never came. Reggie won 3 NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series, 2005, 2006, and another year that validated his work. The trophies felt good, but they didn't translate into the opportunities he watched his white peers receive. Friends was ending around the same time Girlfriends was running, and those actors had movie deals lined up, production companies forming, sitcoms being developed specifically for them. Matt LeBlanc, Jennifer Aniston, even the supporting actors from Friends got more attention than the lead actors from Girlfriends. But Reggie was working. He had a steady paycheck. He could afford to live. For 8 years, he showed up and did the work and told himself that this was enough. He had no idea how bad it was about to get. In 2007, the Writers Guild of America went on strike. Every show in Hollywood shut down. Scripts stopped being written. The entire industry froze while writers fought for better compensation in the digital age. For most shows, this was an inconvenience. For Girlfriends, which was already on shaky ground in its 8th season, it became a death sentence. The show never came back from the strike. UPN had merged with the WB to become the CW, and the new network wasn't interested in keeping an aging sitcom that primarily appealed to Black audiences. They pulled the plug during the Christmas season. No final episodes, no wrap-up for the fans, no goodbye tour. Reggie found out his show was canceled while he was trying to figure out what to do with himself during the strike. One day he was working. The next day the show was gone. No warning, no ceremony. For 8 years, Girlfriends had been a third of his life. He'd grown up on that show, learned who he was as a man on that show, built his entire identity around being William Dent. The validation from fans, the awards, the recognition, all of it had made him feel valuable in ways he'd never felt before, losing his parents. And now it was just gone. He thought the phone would ring. He thought casting directors who'd watched him for 8 years would call with new opportunities. He thought being part of a successful show for that long would open doors. He was wrong about all of it. The auditions started lawyers, judges, doctors, the same generic roles that every Black actor in Hollywood was fighting for. He'd walk into casting rooms and see 50 other men who looked like him, all desperate for the same small part that would pay rent for a month. Meanwhile, the money from Girlfriends was running out. He'd made decent money during the show's run, but not the kind of money that sets you up for life. He bought a house in the hills, started remodeling it, invested in making it beautiful. When the work stopped coming and the bills kept arriving, he couldn't afford to finish the renovations. He had to sell the house at a loss and move into an apartment. The depression hit like a tsunami. He gained weight, a lot of weight. He'd wake up, eat in bed, watch television in bed, go back to sleep in bed. The cycle repeated day after day, week after week, month after month. He tried being a bouncer at nightclubs. 6'2", he looked the part. But everyone who came to those clubs recognized him from Girlfriends. They wanted pictures, wanted to chat, wanted William, not a bouncer. And Reggie, who described himself as a mouse, who admitted he was a pushover, couldn't actually enforce rules on drunk people who needed to be removed. He tried being a furniture mover, physical labor, loading trucks, carrying couches upstairs. He was in his 40s. His body wasn't built for that kind of work anymore, and his back gave out after a couple of days. Another job he couldn't do. Another reminder that the only thing he knew how to do was act, and nobody was hiring him to act. He eventually moved into his sister's garage, 6 years living in a garage. The actor who'd won 3 NAACP Image Awards, who'd made millions of people laugh for 8 seasons, who'd been on magazine covers and red carpets, was sleeping in a garage because he couldn't afford his own place. In 2015, Reggie started having chest pains and trouble breathing. He ignored it at first. Actors don't have health insurance when they're not working, and he couldn't afford to see doctors. But the pain got worse. He went to the emergency room and they did an EKG. The results weren't good. His heart wasn't functioning properly. By 2016, the symptoms were impossible to ignore. More chest pains, more breathing problems. He went back to the hospital and they diagnosed him with congestive heart failure. His heart was weak. The muscle wasn't pumping blood efficiently. He was 47 years old and his heart was failing. September 2020, Netflix added Girlfriends to its streaming library. Suddenly, 20 years after the show premiered, a whole new generation discovered William Dent. Social media exploded, with people watching the show for the first time, people rewatching it for nostalgia, people creating memes and clips and appreciation posts. The attention came back. People started following Reggie on Instagram, sending him messages telling him how much they loved the show. But the attention also brought criticism. Someone posted old photos of Reggie from Girlfriends next to recent photos where he'd gained weight. The comparison went viral. People who'd never met him, who knew nothing about his struggles, started leaving cruel comments. One person sent him a photo with the word "done" stamped across his face. Another person wrote asking him how it felt to be done, to be finished, to be irrelevant. He started blocking people. He wrote back to some of the cruelest commenters, calling them ugly people. The same month Netflix added Girlfriends, Reggie ended up back in the hospital. The chest pains had returned. The breathing problems were worse. Los Angeles was on fire, literal wildfires filling the sky with orange smoke, and he couldn't breathe in the toxic air. This time, he listened to the doctors. The weight started coming off. 60 pounds in the first year. He posted updates on Instagram documenting his progress, showing the world that he was still fighting. By 2024, he'd lost over 80 pounds total. Reginald C. Hayes is 55 years old now. He still auditions for roles. He still takes whatever work comes his way. In 2022, he landed a recurring role as Superintendent Collins on the Emmy-winning ABC sitcom Abbott Elementary, a comeback that felt like vindication. In 2025, the independent film I Hate My Love Life premiered at the Seattle Black Film Festival, featuring Hayes in a lead role. He's also made recent guest appearances on shows like Black-ish in 2019 and Black Lightning in 2021. He lives modestly now, found roommates in the Valley, keeps his expenses low, still tracking calories, still walking every day, still managing his heart condition with medication and lifestyle changes. As of 2025, his net worth is estimated at $1 million, a fraction of what his Girlfriend's co-stars accumulated, but earned through resilience and refusal to give up. He's been writing scripts with friends, developing ideas, trying to create opportunities for himself since Hollywood won't create them for him. The Instagram followers keep growing. Slowly, people discovering William Dent for the first time, people remembering how much they loved Girlfriends. Reggie watches that number grow and hopes it translates into something real. The real reason Reggie Hayes disappeared from Hollywood wasn't because he wasn't talented. It wasn't because audiences didn't love him. It was because Hollywood has a system for handling Black actors who don't bring immediate profit. He was never supposed to have a career after Girlfriends. He was supposed to disappear quietly, replaced by the next Black actor who'd eventually face the same fate. But Reggie is still here. He's 55 years old and he's not giving up because acting is the only thing he knows how to do, the only thing he's ever wanted to do, the only thing that made him feel valuable after losing his parents and spending his childhood learning to survive. William Dent made millions of people laugh for 8 years. Reginald C. Hayes is trying to survive for the rest of his life.